I'm Dr. Rajni here. I'm a psychiatrist working as Deputy Director Mental Health in Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of Karnataka. Let us see, what is isolation, what is quarantine, what is the psychology of pandemic, and who are all the vulnerable population, why mental health issues are important, and what are the psychological problems, psychiatric problems during isolation, quarantine, and pandemics, and when to seek help, and how do we manage all these things. So, to start with, what is isolation? So, all of us from morning till evening now in this kind of Corona Yuga, we are hearing isolation, quarantine, positive, all these things. Let's understand what it is. So, isolation is separation of already infected people or those tested positive people from the community. So, person with, for example, COVID-19 positive report is isolated from the community and kept in hospital for treatment under the supervision of doctors. So, this reduces the spread of infection. Isolation gets over when two consecutive lab reports become negative. So, what is quarantine? This is separation of individuals or group of people who don't have symptoms, active symptoms, but are exposed to sickness. Quarantine at home or government designated facilities. So, for example, now people traveling from China or other countries with COVID positive cases are quarantined at home or specific centers, and also the people who have come in contact with the positive people. So, this also reduces the spread of infection, and during quarantine they are checked if they develop any symptoms, and they are out of quarantine after 14 to 28 days based on the government guidelines. So, to look at the psychology of pandemic, uh, we can see people going through stress and a lot of misconceptions, stigma, normal fear versus abnormal versus no fear. No fear is also a bigger problem. Like, many people feel that I'm totally fit and nothing will happen to me. I'm a big doctor or I'm a big professional. So, but our virus doesn't know that, our brain doesn't know that we are big professionals. And then fear of losing life, livelihood, losing, getting separated from loved ones because the virus or quarantine. So, what we should understand or remember is high recovery rates are also seen in COVID positive, but that doesn't mean we should, go out of the government guidelines, just, roam around. What we need to understand to reduce the fear is 80% of the infections, those with COVID positive, are mild infections and self limiting, 15% are moderate and they require admission at the hospitals, and 5% of them are severe and they need ICU admission and ventilators. 1 to 2.5% of the individuals are at the high risk. However, who are all the vulnerable population? So, vulnerable population, as we know, should be more careful. So, like children, elderly, particularly in the frail elderly, people with serious mental illness, people with physical disabilities, people with substance dependency, and people living in poverty, and the healthcare professionals who are handling directly the COVID positive patients. And then to look at the mind shift, what can be used during isolation, lockdown, quarantine. For example, I'll give you one or two examples. So usually we feel, I'm stuck at home. Instead of that, we can, feel I get to be safe in my home. I can spend a lot of time with my family. And one more negative cognition which we might get is I will get sick. For example, it can be corrected like this. I will set, I'm isolated. I can wash my hands frequently. I can be disease free. So, what I'm trying to tell you is a negative thought, what we usually get, can be, changed to a positive thought. So, what are the phases of emotional response that we usually see during any disaster or pandemic? So, the pre disaster warning that we saw, during November, December, that, Wuhan, China, there is something called as coronavirus which is spreading, which is very contagious and all. Then the impact phase, then the heroic or honeymoon phase, a lot of help is given to everybody who are in isolation, quarantine, lockdown, seal down, all these things happen. Then the disillusional phase and a lot of triggers, and we have to go through, a lot of economic downfall and other things. And then starts the reconstruction, real reconstruction, resilience phase. So this is how, the The mental health responses to any kind of emergencies we have seen, like distress reactions will be there, vulnerability, frustration about the government, and the few mental disorders like anxiety, depression, post traumatic stress, and then the health risk behaviors like increase in smoking, alcohol, over dedication, lot of workaholics. So all these things. Why mental health is important? Why should you know about mental health? So one of the surveys has shown that 54%, around 54% of the people have related the psychological impact of the outbreak as moderate to severe, which is very, very significant. And then the 43% of them have experienced anxiety. And then, we can see the aftermath, long lasting psychosocial and economic impact also. So, what type of issues are faced usually when people are there in this situation? So, usually anxiety and xenophobia. Xenophobia is like, irrational fear of foreigners or anything foreign. So, that we call it as, xenophobia. And then obsessions, sleep disturbance can happen. Domestic violence, we are hearing from various medias that domestic violence is increasing when people, all of them are at home. And then the loneliness, helplessness, depression, and then the consequences, many other consequences, suicidal ideas, attempts. Even medias were telling, because the alcohol problem, withdrawal, lot of suicide attempts have happened. Then withdrawal symptoms due to unavailability or reduction in the substance or alcohol. Then, what specific issues people go through during isolation? Fear of health worsening and death, fear of no specific treatment available, worries of missing loved ones, shame about having infection, guilt about spreading infection to others. So, during quarantine, also people go through a lot of stress, fear, worries about the lab tests, doubts about the symptoms and illness. So, whenever, I mean, by chance, if they have little cough, little throat pain, they might relate it to corona, or have I got covid-19. Fear of spreading or contracting the infection, anger and frustration about the restriction of movements, rights being restricted, uncertainty about the duration of quarantine. So will they finish this quarantine in 14 days or 28 days or 3 months? So this kind of uncertainty also builds in a lot of stress, not able to enjoy privileges, mistrust on authorities, and suicidal thoughts. All these can happen. And one of the biggest another problem what people are facing is stigma and discrimination. This is quite common against people who are quarantined and their family. This leads to social discrimination, not talking to them, not playing with their kids, not helping them when in need. It affects the mental health very badly, and it is very common against even the medical professionals. We have been hearing that doctors have been denied apartments, houses, they've been asked to vacate. So all these problems are happening. So, how do we manage stigma and discrimination? So, one is education, educating the public about the illness and awareness about already existing distress, which, with these people, which will reduce the stigma and discrimination, and promotional activities like hero campaigns, where the quarantined people and the medical professionals are appreciated for their efforts. Recently, we saw, based on the government of India guidelines and our prime minister's efforts, all the whole country appreciated the healthcare professionals. That's one of the way how you reduce the stigma. And then the governments to ensure severe penalties in case of persistent discrimination. So another, what all can be done during these lockdown? Daily activity scheduling, both the physical and mental activities, hobbies can be developed, new hobbies, or adequate food intake, and that to balanced food. A lot of people were complaining that we don't have much time to prepare food. Now you have all the time with you. You can have adequate balanced food. Sleep hygiene is also very, very important. You should sleep at the right time and get up at the right time, early to bed and early to rise. All these things can be managed now because we are all at home. And then yoga, meditation, and of course music. So learning new skills, taking break from social media and news, virtually connecting with the loved ones. So social distancing is there at home, physical distancing, but you can get connected in the virtual mode to your loved ones, friends, everybody. And healthcare professionals also, especially, they should take breaks in between their busy work. And then another few more things what can be used during the stress is like ventilation, allowing the person to express when they are in distress. And then the reassuring, explaining them the issues that they are facing are common and many are facing similar problems, reassuring them, emphasizing that their concerns would be informed to the appropriate authority and help would be provided. To give a specific example, one of the persons who was admitted in a facility used to call me telling, madam, this is the problem, I'm not getting the water to drink at the right time, and then food variety, it is becoming monotonous, so all these things. So I used to reassure this person, okay, it would be told to the authority, all these things, the small things like reassurance, simple problem solving, all these will reduce their stress. So another things what is bothering people are a lot of rumors. So facts about the need of quarantine to be provided, educating about the illness, and whenever we go in some colonies, we have to explain to them what is, they should not feel that really they are pushed into some difficult situation. So we should tell them that the basic supplies like food, self care needs, and medicines, all these will be ensured, and daily activity scheduling, both the physical and mental activities have to be taken care of. So do what gives you happiness. And then simple appreciation also goes a long way. Sense of altruism, where a person feels that they are actually doing good to the community by staying in the quarantine, should be brought out and should be told to them, look, because of you are there inside very safe, you are not spreading your the virus to the people, or you are not contracting any extra problems from others. So whenever possible, voluntarily accept the quarantine, the negative effects will be very minimal. So authorities have to ensure that the appropriate tests are done and people are not kept in quarantine for extra days. So we recently saw that a German minister committed suicide. I don't want to put any negative thought into anybody, whoever is watching this video. Why I mentioned this is he was a very efficient minister, looks like through the print media what I read, but the stress can bring in neurochemical changes in the brain, and people might think of suicidal ideas. So you should always be careful and you should seek help whenever such problems happen. Even in Karnataka, we have been reading that there were suicide attempts and suicidal completed suicides due to problems at home. So I want to share few, one or two positive experiences with COVID-19. From Karnataka government, we have been providing mental health support to all the isolated, quarantined, and those tested positive, and also the migrants. So this is one of the persons who had traveled back from abroad. He had gone for a work. He stayed at home in isolation, strict isolation for few days. Then he developed a fever. He went to a first referral hospital. Throat swab was taken and was tested positive. And then I usually we give this call the moment somebody is tested positive. So I called him the second day to just to check with how is he coping with all these things. He started telling me that he is feeling very tired, very sad, not sleeping whole night, jet lag is bothering him, not able to have food, and then running high fever, and then not able to have family care around, and problems with logistics like food and medicines coming little late, and then anxiety about the test results of his wife, daughter. So it went on and on and on like this. So how did we manage this person? So what I did is I allowed him, this is a telephonic consultation, telephonic counseling, what is being taken across the state. So I allowed him to ventilate his problems. I also told him that it is very common to go through such situation when he has physical ailment and viral infection. And then what happened is every day calls were given, supportive counseling was done to him. A small dose of anti-anxiety and antidepressant medicines were also started to him through the treating doctor in that hospital. And then to our surprise, from third day itself, he started improving. He started doing some walking exercises inside the hospital corridor, and then he stopped sleeping in the daytime. So all these things were followed, and he started making more calls to the family, and he recovered very well, and he was the first to get discharged. So another positive story which I want to share with you people about the stigma is one of the artists who traveled back from abroad. She was in strict isolation, but after few days she developed anosmia, that is she was not able to sense any kind of smell. So that was the only symptom, but she felt maybe there is something wrong, she is not able to smell anything. Then she went to the hospital, she was tested positive, covid positive. What she did as a responsible person, she had put this status that she has been tested positive in the social media to alert other people who have come in contact with her. By chance if they develop some symptoms, they should be alerted and they should go back and test. So she got lot of positive messages, but of course, so she was sharing me when I called, so she got lot of nasty messages also, like she's a worst lady, she's a murderer, how can she be, she should be arrested. So lot of these things. So already she was going through so much stress, seeing these messages she was going through more anxious. So then I counseled her, I told her, and then to our surprise again she got another call from her apartment owner around third fourth day telling she should come and vacate her apartment. So again she told the apartment owner that she is in hospital and she can't do that. So towards her discharge after 20 days, she was tested positive twice, and then the apartment owner started messaging her continuously, telling she should not come back to her apartment. So, in spite of telling that her hometown is in a different state, then what happened? We can't blame the apartment owners also, because they were going through a lot of anxiety. So then what I did is I took the phone number of the apartment owner also, and they were educated enough, telling that only after she has been tested twice negative, then only she's been discharged, and her movements also will be restricted, and she would follow the government guidelines. Then the apartment owner also agreed gracefully, and the person went back and she is very happy at home. So to summarize about the corona and mental health and when to seek help. So, all of you, my appeal is do seek help when you are going through severe anxiety, panic attacks, and then pervasive sad mood. You are feeling low whole day, and sometimes suicidal thoughts, then alcohol and other substance abuse, withdrawal problems, and any abnormal behavior. If you notice in you and your relatives or anybody around you, please seek help. Contact any nearby public health institution, contact nearby mental health institution or mental health professional, or if you don't get anything, please call 24/7 free health helpline 104. You would get the psychiatrist number of your own district, then free counseling and treatment can be given. This holds good to the even healthcare professionals who are busily working. Please do seek help, talk to your kith and kin, talk to mental health professionals if in need. So thank you very much, and I repeat, there is no health without mental health.